Let 8 run 7's playbook from the Bruce Arians era. How you feel about that? Because I know you are more familiar with the Bruce Arians era. I'm more of a Todd Haley era.
I think he's just saying that. Like, this might be a little hyperbole. Like, if you really want to dig into the details, I don't know if that would be the best approach, because I think Arian's style is very
No
much
risk it, no biscuit, right?
Yeah, drop back. Let's do just a bunch of deep routes, and Ben's gonna have dudes shrugging off him, and he's gonna make a play. That was kind of the style, and that's why we got rid of Arians, brought in Haley, try to get the ball out of Ben's hands a little bit faster. So I don't know necessarily if the Arians approach would be best for our personnel right now. If you get what I mean?
Yeah.
I think what he's saying is just let's get a different OC in here. We did have success with Arians. We won Super Bowls, et cetera, et cetera. Arians specifically, no, I don't think that style would be good for us. But you know what? Actually, I mean, the Todd Haley style, I think, would be. I was thinking earlier today. Now, I'm getting a little off topic here. I was thinking earlier today, with the guys that we have, I like what we were doing last year, end of 2022. Apparently, we're like throwing that out the book. We're trying to do some of this gimmick stuff that Canada is known for. And you said we got to see in training camp and looked kind of decent with the motions, trying to do a little bit more lateral stuff. Yeah. I don't think it's working with the guys that we got. I think we got to move on from that. I liked a lot of the downhill stuff we were doing, running the ball with Najee last year. Let's get back to that. And then I would like to take some of the mid-2010s Patriots approach, double tight end set, get Jalen Warren out there, almost like a Shane Vereen, Dion Lewis. We might need to pick up another running back, which is why I'm suggesting let's trade for Israel Abanikanda of that mold.
Gotcha.
Get a Jalen Warren, get an Abanikanda, get the ball out quick. Like Brady was, I mean, dude was tossing them line of scrimmage, 5 yards down the field, the whole way down, and then they would take the deep shot to a tight end or someone on a crosser. Like that's what I would want. Because these run plays and stuff aren't working. It's just not.
All right.
But in terms of a change, I know it's not happening. At least not right now. And I think we can improve. I think we can improve with what we got. I think Kenny can improve. I do think Canada can improve if he takes some of my advice I'm giving right now and actually use our personnel a little bit better. But I don't know if we'll ever hit the next level with them. I think I'm at that point. I think we can definitely win games and be competitive, be contenders, though, for sure.
Okay.
Let's get back to some more of what we were doing last year.
All right. I like it. In terms of how I look at the whole let 8 run a 7 style playbook, I always think of, when people speak of like the 7 style playbook, more so of just run through the quarterback, him being full autonomy. If we feel like it's a matchup where he's able to call it at line of scrimmage, he can call it. If we feel like we can go hurry up offense, he can go hurry up offense. If he sees something, he should be able to check to it. That's what I think of with the Ben Roethlisberger era, whether it was
you're not talking about Arians, right?
Yes, that's why I always think of like the Haley part of it. But
Sure.
either way, like, I kind of get where he was going with the mindset. Me personally, I don't think that would help Kenny right now, because when I look at Kenny, as easy as it is to just say it's OC because that's, what most people say, it's not just the OC. It's not. Kenny does have to play better. And regardless of who the OC is, if Kenny isn't going to make the routine plays routinely, you're going to have the same issues. And I think that's more so how I look at, right now, the whole playbook, Kenny, that style with 7. I don't think that helps him. I think for him, he has to get back to his mechanics. He has to get back to the things that make him good. And until we can get back to that, the offense is going to feel like how it feels. Weird. Explosive in certain parts, stagnant in other parts, head scratching in other sections. We see what they're trying to do in certain parts, but then you question if it is actually talent, is it call, or is it just lack of execution in certain parts? But when you're talking about having all of those things at play with very unproven casted characters on that side of the field, it's going to put you in this type of vibe where we looking at this offense like, how the defense outscoring y'all? But this is a very young offense with a lot of moving pieces that are taking turns having issues. O-line, it was times Monday night where I thought they protected great. And on them plays, Kenny took his time, read his progressions, and hit beautiful throws. I thought it was times where Kenny footwork was beautiful, read what he needed to read, anticipated, and cut it loose. Beautiful. Thought it was times where the receivers got separation. Combat catches. Calvin Austin, couple combat catches. George Pickens. Not only making his routine catches, but even taking something that's normal and taking it to the crib. We saw all of those things, right? We even saw Jaylen Warren look like Jaylen Warren, right? Explosive in the run game and in the pass game. We saw Najee hit a power run downhill. Heck, we even saw him reverse field at one point.
I don't like that, though.
We even had, as much as nobody is ever going to give this credit, a beautiful play call design when you talk about the Jaylen Warren catch where he broke up the sideline. It's literally a picket fence that they're designing with the 3 receivers to block off the linebacker and the safety in the corner, and you run and have Jaylen run an out route, catch it in stride, beautiful throw by Kenny, not a deep pass, but it was in rhythm, and it was accurate. And what do we mean by accurate? Not the back number. It was on the front number. It's a small detail. And to most fans, it's easy to just look at that and say, well, hey, he didn't catch it or he could have didn't run. Why is Canada calling this? But as a player, you're like, bro, he threw it on the back shoulder versus the front shoulder. If it's a crosser and you throw it on the back shoulder, you're always going to be late. And it's the second week in a row we done seen that. That has nothing to do with Canada. But that isn't sexy to say that. So I get it. But it's certain things where we can see this offense and see some of the talent, see some of the potential. But the inconsistency is the part that keeps killing it. You have a couple of successful plays, it's a penalty. All right, you have good plays, we get short yardage, bad call. All right, now we got the protection right, we got the receivers open, Kenny just missed the throw. All right, now we got protection, call, throw right, drop pass. You can't win like that. Or you will need a Herculean effort by the defense, which we did get. And the flip side, you look at that Browns offense, they did us a lot of favors, did they not? 4 turnovers by them, 2 of them counting for points.
Right.
You're not going to get that every week, as you said, man. But to me, it was one of those things where in the midst of all that chaotic stuff, the one thing I still loved, we were able to minimize the turnovers. Now, it wasn't always by choice. They dropped one, obviously. But I
don't know what Kenny was doing. Are you trying to throw it away?
But when we
trying to like not keep it within so you can maybe catch it, just throw it away.
So when I'm looking, I'm like, is that a bad call? Is that bad play? Is it a terrible decision? Yes.
Oh, we got lucky there.
But yeah, that's one of the ones, and it's not like we said. We saw it last week, right? Fred Warner, you hit him in the face. You dropped it the first way. So it's like you're seeing certain things where you can legitimately say this has 0 to do with a call. This has 0 to do with a coordinator. But that's what we say in terms of the accountability part in-house. We never point the fingers because we know a lot of people are at play or are factors in terms of why this offense is not as consistent as we both feel like it's capable of being.
Now, if Canada will switch it up and get out of what he's been doing these first 2 weeks, then sure. I don't know if I have that much faith in him at this point, just given what he's done.
Okay.
You get what I mean? We did get the switch up last year after the bye, and I appreciate that. I feel like we do got to go back to that more. I don't like these. What are we doing with some of this lateral stuff? It just doesn't seem right for what we're doing, and then it's putting our backs up against the wall, and then combined with the offensive line not playing good, not opening up running lanes, instant pressure on Kenny at time, false starts. Kenny not playing his best. Like it is the it's very leveled. It's very leveled. I get that,
but you answered it low key without even realizing it. You talked about the lateral plays, and then you talked about the O-line. This is part of the issue, and now some of this is the 2 matchups we've had. The San Francisco 49ers defense is dope. We know this. The Cleveland Browns defense, we're familiar with it, and we're biased towards it because we're Pittsburgh, and we don't really respect it. But if we were not in Pittsburgh, you're not going to sit here and act like they don't have a dope defense as well. So part of that is at play. We even talked about our upgraded players. James Daniels and Isaac Seumalo, are they better at their position than Javon Hargrave and Eric Armstead? And we were like, probably not. Probably not. And it reflected. When we talk about this past week, it's like, all right, when we're talking about their guys, a lot more proven on their defense than us in that revamped offensive line.
Well, the problem is the interior isn't holding its own either. Those are the guys we're expecting to step up. They were getting cooked.
So, once again, when you're asking, why don't we continue to run downhill plays that are good for Najee? Because you're not winning the line of scrimmage in downhill calls. So, the caveat or the Alternative is now we got to go lateral, which is why Canada calls the lateral plays. But the problem with that is you're keeping Najee on the field for lateral plays when Najee's a downhill runner. To me, I look at that personnel grouping and I say you can't keep calling the lateral style plays like you want to run with Najee because, number one, as a runner, he's not explosive enough to threaten you. So the defenses, when Najee's on the field, they don't care about anything. They're loading up and saying, if Kenny beats us with his arm, great, but he's been inaccurate these first 2 games. Najee can't outrun us, so he's going to have to run us over. And me and TG have told you numerous times, like, yo, that's not scary at the NFL level. What's scary is you running by people. That's why Derrick Henry is so unique, because he will run by you. And now you got to respect that, so now he can run over you. Jaylen Warren's scary. He can run by you. So when you see him run over people, it's because they're worried about him running by them. With Najee, it's one-dimensional. So running game-wise, you're limited, right? I can't keep doing this because you've already said it. O-line is not winning that matchup. So now I got Najee running behind brick wall. All right, cool. We're not getting no yardage, first down. All right, 2nd and 10, right? Now we in 3rd and long. Not ideal. So the alternative is, okay, let's try to do some, some stretch plays, some misdirection stuff. Najee doesn't have that burst. Then we try to do the quick passing attack, right? Because O-line inconsistent. So let's do this. Man, let's quick release Najee. How many times do we see Najee catch the ball, but by the time he gathered himself, got turned around, the defender's already on him? It's not scary. Flip side, you look at Jaylen Warren. Jaylen Warren gets the ball in the screen pass.
I'm talking about that Patriots
he's going
offense.
up 15.
Dion Lewis, like a Jaylen Warren.
But
you know what I mean? Shane Green.
But that's the personnel part. And that's why I don't feel like it's Canada's offense. I feel like the personnel doesn't match it. But you got to be the one willing to say, I'm going to bench or not bench. I'm going to be the one to pull Najee off the field and not play him as often because he's not fitting what we need right now. But that's not. But nobody's going to do that. If you do that right now, that's, oh, my God, what's going on here? But to me, the offense flows better when we're able to have Kenny have that drop-off option to Jaylen Warren, because that drop-off option to Jaylen now has legs. That is no longer a 1-yard gain or a 2-yard loss. That's a 5-yard pickup.
I know.
We saw it multiple times.
We witnessed it every time he touched the ball.
To me, I feel like those are the type of things that would make Kenny's life easier because they're rhythm throws, they're low-risk, high-reward throws, and it's throwing it to a person that is designed for that. Whereas with Najee, as much as we love him here in Pittsburgh, he is not going to fit what we're trying to accomplish this year because this O-line isn't doing what we thought they were going to be able to do. We thought they were going to be road graders, right? That's what we talked about all offseason. We have road graders. Yep. Najee behind these road graders should be great because he can go downhill. Yep. Okay, 2 games, bad matchups, however we want to place it, that ain't it right now, right? So now the
crazy thing is it could be it for next week. Because you're right. Those might have been 2 of the tougher matchups we go against bro. From an offense to defense standpoint.
Absolutely.
They could have been. Because we know that the 49ers are going to be a top 5 defense. Yeah. Browns up to this point are showing they might be a top 5 or 6 defense. They might be.
On paper, they have everything that you would want at all 3 levels.
Right.
The difference is we play in Pittsburgh, so we don't respect them. That's it. The reason why we talk about Myles Garrett as if he's some second-rate citizen. Just think about it, right? He was still having an impact, but we don't even respect it because the rivalry part. But he's still a dope player.
Oh, and PFF and a bunch of the mainstream media sucks him off and thinks he's better than TJ.
But you see what I'm saying? That's all outside influence. That has nothing to do with like actually playing.
Sure, no, we know he's a top 3 edge rusher, right? But top 3 or 4.
Think about it. You say it, but a lot of people in Pittsburgh don't respect it like that. They won't say it like that.
No, he was beating Dan Moore.
Yeah. But those are some of the things. So it's like, yo, they're facing some dope fronts. They're facing some really good defenses early on. This Vegas team, I just seen what Buffalo did to them. Run game and pass game. They look right for the taking. Now, are they going to play us the same way that they played Buffalo? That remains to be seen because they respected the heck out of Josh and Diggs. And Gabe Davis as the number 2 was the one that they couldn't account for. Now, we feel like in George Pickens, we've seen him take stuff to the house. He's coming off of a major performance, career day for him. Calvin gave us a little bit of stuff as well as a receiver, but we got to see, okay, are y'all even capable of threatening Vegas to make them play like that? Because right now, when you play the Steelers and you see Najee, man, they in base personnel and they walking in that box and daring Kenny to throw. In these first 2 games, it just hasn't been consistent enough with him, receivers, and you can make a case for some of the play calls.
I think we're saying the same thing in a way. And
we are.
One of the other things I noticed with the pass plays, there are receivers not getting open. I feel like some of the calls aren't there. It almost feels like the defense knows what's going on in a way. But I will say this. felt like for a lot of these PA boots and like little rollouts and stuff, we were only throwing out like 3 eligibles.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be part of the problem, too. They had a ton of guys to cover, those 2 or 3, and then maybe we'd have Muth or Warren or Najee go out on a delay, but Kenny's rolling out, and he's just not seeing anything, or the pressure would be right there, and then it'd have to be a throwaway or whatnot.
But part of why you think they got to keep a tight end
I get it. Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm wondering. I mean, that is a little bit part of the matchup. I wish there was more to help the offense in a way, because I don't think we're getting set up properly.
I look at it like this. So think about this, right? I felt like both offenses, Cleveland and Pittsburgh, had the exact same problem.
Sure.
Quarterback and talent, but they could not protect up front. When they protected and they had time to throw, they gashed us, right? And we gashed them. But as a whole, we felt like both D-lines, both front sevens at times dominated. When Watson had time to sit back there, he was hitting throws. When he was running for his life, it was, are you going to make a good decision? Are you going to make a bad decision? Or did he escape with his legs this time, right? With Kenny, it was, when that pressure comes, are you going to make a good decision? Or you going to make a bad decision? What we finna do to get up out of here? The difference was, like we said, Deshaun, he had the extra on him. You know what I mean? In terms of the strip sack and then TJ being able to house it, the pick going off of Minka, and then Highsmith taking that to the crib. That was the difference. But both of our teams struggled in that vein. Both teams had success at times, right? We saw them have the long run. We had the long pass. Both were what? Bad angles or missed tackles. For us, I think it was 23 for them. Shout out to GP, stepped around them and then put them on hamstring alert. And then for them, it was Jerome Ford,
right,
ultimately stepping around Levi Wallace. And that's how he took off, you know? But as a whole, I felt like it was very similar. The thing that I did like from Cleveland that I wish we would have done more was when they were trying to get going and start to get Amari Cooper more involved, they would go to the 2 tight end set and legit hard chip block on those ends when they wanted to stretch the field. We never went to that approach. We would still try to just do a regular, all right, I'm going to drop back and just throw it downfield. And it's like,
or you'd have Muth do it, but it wasn't a hard one, like you said. He'd just throw a little shoulder.
It was the assignment says line here and chip him.
Yeah.
Right. That was the difference. Whereas you watch Cleveland, it was, bro, get 2 hands and block TJ. Get 2 hands and help block Highsmith.
Yeah, and then Deshaun would potentially throw a tight window throw to one of his receivers, Cooper, whoever it was.
To me, when I'm looking at that, I'm like, that's something that I want us to add to us, because that would potentially help Kenny with his time.
We did it last year.
Absolutely. But I wonder, once again, based on preseason, based on training camp success, did even coaching staff buy into it a little bit more and say, yeah, we are going to put more of this on Kenny early on to see, can he make these reads? Can he make these throws? Because as we highlighted last week, if he's making those throws early on, the flow feels way different. Way different. And you could make a case if he's making some of these routine throws, not anything crazy. We're talking just routine, step into it, put the ball where it's supposed to be. Front side, not back side. Make it easy on him. If he just hits those, it's a different flow. And then when we talk about some of the personnel stuff, like we said with Najee on some of those plays, if that's Warren versus Najee, it just feels differently. Now these drives aren't dead. Now it's not, bro, why we in 3rd and long again? And y'all wondering why we can't convert on 3rd and 10 plus. You know how hard it is to convert on 3rd and 10 plus? Deke, as a defender in the NFL, if I got you 3rd and 10 plus, bro, good luck. Good luck. And we see it. You might get it on occasion, but in terms of it's taking Jaylen Warren taking a screen past 14 yards to get a first. You see what I mean? Like, that's very, very difficult, and ultimately it's not sustainable. So that's why, to me, I'm like, you got to be better on them early downs. But a part of that is what you're doing in that backfield, man, in terms of who you're calling these run plays with.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like, I've come off the snap. I mean, I was pretty drunk at the game Monday night, and
shout out to my dog Deke, man. It was a vibe seeing you at the game, man.
Thanks, man.
It was a vibe, bro. I like seeing y'all, man.
Oh yeah, I was definitely on Fire Canada alert. I flipped the switch, but after watching the game again a couple times, it wasn't all on him. But this can't continue, and I'm trying to offer the solutions. Mm-hmm. We both are of what we could do differently. Monday night just wasn't it. And Kenny was off. Now I don't think Kenny. I'll be honest with you. After rewatching, I don't think he's as bad. He was as bad as everyone's making it seem in that game.
How are they making it seem?
Not the guy anymore. bring in Mitch, like that type of stuff.
I mean, they were saying that at the stadium.
Had some missed throws. If you want to go across the league, watch any of the 16 games that happen in week 2, there's going to be quarterbacks that miss throws. The problem was also, though, that there were times whenever you're just trying to drop back and convert on 2nd and long, 3rd and long, instant pressure. Like, there's nothing he could do. And there's times where it's going to show up on the stat sheet as an incompletion, but Kenny's just getting rid of the ball. You know what I mean? Just trying to dump it off to a running back. Maybe they dropped it or whatnot, or just throwing the ball away. Now, we did have ones that were clear, like, 3, 4, whatever. And it's not excusable.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, he can improve. Canada can improve, too, to help Kenny better, help this offense better.